this is what the American people voted for. Donald Trump has been promising these pardons ever since he announced his candidacy in Waco, Texas, the scene of one of the most notorious battles between American law enforcement and the American extremist movement that resulted in the death of numerous law enforcement officers. Thanks, America.
The repulsive and sick behavior by Donald Trump yesterday in pardoning all of the members of January 6th, everyone who attacked, beat, punched, kicked, stabbed, gouged, everything. Used the American flag to stab policemen, trap them indoors, and frankly attacked the seat of our capital for the first time since 1812, wiped their feces on the wall. Again, I know Donald Trump's diaper gets overfilled, but did they have to take it that way? Seriously, all 1,500 of them. Could there have been some people there that just kind of went with the group that didn't actually enter the Capitol, that were on the area? They could have said, maybe we should make their sentences shorter. Maybe. I wouldn't be inclined to do it. But the violent ones, the ones who attack people, the ones who stole property, the ones who were putting up nooses. By the way, why have we never, again, Justice Department, Merrick Garland, why we never find out who put that noose up there for Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi? People that did that kind of stuff should be in prison for the rest of their lives. And Donald Trump, if we had filled in the gaps those 4 years and we'd had, an active Justice and Homeland Security Department informing Americans that these were domestic terrorists working on behalf of Donald Trump, who had committed sedition, and that you were going to try to prove that in court and not share details, well, then there's no reason these guys couldn't have been communicating all the time. And Democrats never communicate enough. I want to give this from the perspective of people that were there. Officer Fanone, who said he feels like he was betrayed by Trump, personally betrayed. Similar, Harry Dunn, which you've come to know, who said the same thing, but feels he was betrayed by the country, by the United States of America, voting Trump in after what they did to him. You may remember Mitt Romney might not even be alive if it wasn't for Harry Dunn. These guys, from a party, the Republican Party, that claims to be in favor of law and order. Funny that. It claims to, worry about crime when they're all a bunch of criminals, the people that he nominated for his cabinet, he himself, and of course the 1,500 people he pardoned. But again, I'm going to keep repeating it. They're not just criminals. They are domestic terrorists. That was one of the worst days in our country's history. Donald Trump, who also, as you may know, released 5,000, I think it was 5,000 Taliban who had attacked Americans so they could go back to Afghanistan and do the same thing. Was never held accountable for that. Apparently worked so well that time, he decided, hey, I released foreign terrorists, now I'm going to release domestic terrorists here. The precedent it sets is horrific. It just says to any of these folks, you can do whatever you'd like and you'll never be held accountable because you're white, which of course they largely are. The fact that he sat there and pardoned them when there are people in prison that we know to be innocent, who've been innocent projects across the country. As you know, I worked with the one here in Ohio and ignored them, but released these people. And the reason Donald Trump did it, again, because everybody thinks that, that people are like, oh, he's throwing them a bone and whatever. And yeah, right. He wants to maybe think some of the MAGA folks think that he still gives a half a crap about them, but mostly he doesn't care. He spits in their faces and they come back and they drink more. That's how it works. They will take whatever he does. I give you the example of inauguration. Freezing as hell, but no colder than Obama's inauguration in 2008 because I was there. That was freezing. Freezing, raining. These people spend thousands of dollars to come in. FAFO. Yeah, I'm sorry. FAFO for you guys. You're learning what your dear leader really thinks of you. And thousands of them, I don't know how many. His crowds are always small, as we know, so probably not as many as he claimed. He decides, maybe he was worried, like when he went to that World War I memorial, I believe it was, that he was going to get rain on his piss cotton candy hair and then he'd have to re-twirl it or whatever he does. In any case, the weak man couldn't take being outside, or more likely just didn't want to be around the riffraff or his base. So he went inside and went around his real base. The billionaires, Elon Musk, right, was there, and Jeff Bezos was there hobnobbing around. $1,000 tickets, I believe they were. Yeah, most of those folks who spent all that money to come in tickets were probably even more than that. All that money on hotels and being there. Trump also could have given them their money back. He could have reimbursed it with all of this money he made off of his crypto scam. Nope, didn't do it. Doesn't care about them. They're out money. They came all the way to DC and they watched from the damn TV like they could have if they were home. But the billionaires inside the rotunda, ooh, he took great care of them. I bet there was champagne glasses clinking as they came up with one scam after another. Because Donald Trump proved right away he's going to ignore the law and no one is going to hold him to account, be it Pam Bondi or anybody else, because he picked people purposely this time for their lack of ethical compass. That's why they're there. It's not just people, there were some actual competent people in the first administration. But again, he released domestic terrorists. He released people that are neo-Nazis. He released oath keepers. He released, what were those other stupid group? Proud Boys. These are his foot soldiers. These are trained, some of them in the military, and they are Nazis, and they were outward about it. They had Confederate flags. They had Camp Auschwitz sweatshirts on, and they attacked human beings, even ending up killing a few officers. And the whole number of those officers, was it 150? I don't remember anymore, were in the hospital with broken bones and all sorts of other injuries, missing eyes. It's sick what he did. And it shows exactly who he is. And he did it for a very specific reason. It's not just throwing a bone, because again, he does not give a shit what they think. He did it for two very important reasons. One, he's finally gotten what he wanted. The entire January 6th has been whitewashed. He wants it erased from history. And so he spent 4 years lying about it, retconning it, saying, oh, there were tours being given, and everybody was laughing and having fun. And, you know, in between having fun, you just have a handful of poop that you wipe on the wall, and you steal furniture from Nancy Pelosi's office. And break through windows, what have you. Right. That's what we call a peaceful gathering. I mean, the gaslighting, the just pure lying about what these people were doing there. The national anthem sung by them, which is repulsive. All right, that he joined in. He'd been doing this for 4 years. Our Justice Department and others allowed him to do it because no one else was doing the talking but he and his lying friends. And he had one last thing on the checklist, and that's pardon these motherfuckers. If I just demonetize myself, I don't care. He pardoned them. And in the end, by doing that, by pardoning them, it never happened, because there's not one criminal now, not one, from January 6th. The slate has been wiped clean, and he'll do his best to wipe the history slates clean too. And secondly, he's now got his own little private army, his own militia, especially the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the other of these guys who've broken multiple laws multiple times, have shown a willingness, even an eagerness to use violence when they showed up at any number of events, Black Lives Matter rallies and the rest. And now he's got them. They owe him their freedom. So when the regular folks won't do what Donald Trump wants, he's got people he can call. Who you going to call? A bunch of treasonous a-holes. Not Ghostbusters. I like those guys. And that's where we are. And so Donald Trump yesterday, I believe, committed one of the most treasonous acts in the history of the country. And I didn't think that was possible anymore. He just keeps raising the bar. Republicans attacked him for it too. Senator Tom Tillis said he thought it was a terrible idea. And others, Democrats, of course, across the board, said it was sick and it was evil, and it was sick and it was evil, and Donald Trump is sick and Donald Trump is evil, and he shouldn't be president of this country, much less president of your local country club. But we're stuck with him for 4 years, so let's do our best to fight the son of a bitch and make him pay for this. And of course, I mean that in a rhetorical way. Let's make him pay for what he just did, for this atrocity. And that has been Cliff's Note or the Takedown or both.